Do they have it?
Yeah. I was like, y'all usually have it over in semester? She said, yeah. But we don't know until it opens in November.
But then that would work perfectly. Because that means I could take it, and then I would be in the college of engineering, the professional, whatever.
What is
Is that like the upper level?
But yeah. I can take
4,000?
Virtual camera.
4,000. I'll be done with all the
You just check it. It should be going, and then you can check the bar here. 1, 2, 3. 6.
I'm supposed to take a 1 or 2 4,000.
1, 2, 3.
In the spring.
Oh.
So I need to get in before that. So that's why I was like, it puts me behind to not be physics 1. But if they have fall winter semester, I can take physics 1 in the fall and physics 2 in the winter semester. Take my classes starting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me open on my phone because sometimes I will.
Here it is for the house. No.
Oh.
This is a good question. There you go. Is it done? I'm out. I was like, should I?
No. There's audio. So
Yeah.
I feel like it was cool.
and then I just go into those good enough.
Is that a thing?
No, it's not. I just have to put it on the far over.
They still kept coming.
Oh, the top one? Yeah, there we go. Top left. There we go.
And then it's a loop.
Alrighty.
I
Cool.
gotta get something today.
Okay.
Because he's there.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, actually.
Open slideshow.
But it was like real wet.
Alrighty.
Wait, before.
Sure.
Let me just.
Oh, so then I should probably be standing over here.
See.
Oh. Oh. That's neat. Multiple me. Oh. Smaller versions of multiple me. Whoa.
It's not the best angle.
Then I should probably be standing over there. Wait, actually, I could always just go back and forth. Well, alrighty, so thank you guys for waiting. So just a heads up before we start. I don't know if you guys noticed, but for some of our more technical workshops, y'all might have had to wait a little bit longer for like Long or Chandra or Hussein to like walk by and help y'all out, right? Maybe. So I guess for future social coding sessions and like technical training sessions, we would recommend y'all to sit next to a buddy. Well, not only to like get to know each other, but also because that helps you guys troubleshoot faster there. So that's just a slight heads up. Are there any questions before I start? Sure.
How would we set up meetings, one-on-one sessions?
Good question. So similar to how you guys have been putting your time on Teams, whenever, instead of just leaving the required section as empty, you would put our emails in there. So our emails are listed in the announcements as well. And then from there, once you select the scheduling assistant, you would be able to compare your schedule and our schedule. So for example, if you wanted to schedule a meeting with me at 8 a.m., sorry, I'm working during that time. Yeah, other than that, you guys would be able to see my availability. Any other questions? Awesome. So let's get started. So business communication and presentation. So I know you guys have probably already heard enough of me hammering it in how it's really important for recruiters and really good for your team, whichever team that you ever will end up working with someday. They will be very grateful for you for being very good with this kind of stuff. It really can also help you propel professionally, like moving up, like I guess you could say like the food chain if you like to call it that. Yeah, let's get started. Yeah, so this will be the general discussion outline. We're going to be talking about the audience because for the most part, it's pretty important. Business communication, little tips stuff there, example walkthrough, and then you guys are going to send me an email requesting for a coffee chat because it might sound a little basic, I know, but low-key, this is very powerful. Like I know many of y'all will probably just do like hybrid or virtual internships or jobs when you go straight off of college, and sometimes it can be very hard to get to know people. I could very much attest to that since my virtual internship, it was really hard unless I actually reached out to people and requested for coffee chats through there. Also very good for LinkedIn. So I know a lot of people really like to mention, like, you guys should network on LinkedIn. How? Right? I'm pretty sure some of y'all asked that, right? So a similar kind of idea. You, like a lot of people low-key on LinkedIn are very willing to help and share their story and how they got there. For example, like I do this all the time for Ed Security Club as well, whenever we want to bring in presenters. For example, our recent security consultant from Verizon, I just reached out to him on LinkedIn, was like, oh, hey, I noticed that you graduated from UTA. I'm also there too. I'm from the cybersecurity club there, and so on. I was like, hey, do you think, would you be interested in giving us a talk? And they were like, yeah, let's go. But yeah, just a little bit of insight there, and then presentations, and then you guys will get to practice your little mini presentation practice there. So, audience, at the end of the day, your message will mean nothing if you either bore them, lose them, or if it's not even relevant to them. Like, I don't know if you guys are sometimes in meetings and you question why you're there if it's not even relevant to you. Yeah, that's stuff like that. Or maybe somebody is asking you to do something, but that's not your responsibility. It's like some other team or some other group of people's responsibility. So it's really good to know or get a gauge or feel like what kind of things would they want to know. For example, maybe some of your team members would be more interested in like the exact logistics of like how to implement something, while maybe your manager would be more concerned about the costs, like the people side of the logistics there. So that's a little bit of audience. Let's see, anything else for audience? Oh, before I continue as well, I know I'm up here, I'm doing the talk, I'm presenting, but if you guys also have similar instances or examples of your life regarding this stuff, please feel free to mention, because that's a lot more fun. Also gets us to know each other a little bit more there. Let's see, business communication. Let's go. Okay, effective email. So I don't know if you guys ever receive emails and it's just a big paragraph, bunch of paragraphs. Do you guys ever read those? No. We normally really like things that are visually friendly, things that you could just scan. Like sometimes people receive way too many emails, and they could really only scan it and see what keywords are relevant to them. So bullet points are very good to really guide conversation there. Email length. sometimes it would be good to not have too many different topics in one email. You might want to break it up into different emails there. Let's see. And then also, I don't really want to read a novel when I open up an email, you know? Yeah, so, and then paragraph breaks. Again, being courteous and making life easier for the reader there. Yeah, let's see, adding descriptions and links. So, for whichever team that you're working on, you guys might be having all kinds of repositories, all kind of like file areas. I'm pretty sure y'all appreciate it when a buddy of yours just sends you the link, saves you the extra clicks there. So a little courtesy there. Important information first. Yeah, again, sometimes people just scan things. So sometimes the top of the email is the only thing that they look at. And let's see. So yeah, font formatting, that could really provide emphasis. Let's see, to take it back a little bit, I don't know if you guys remember from your communication classes, but in person is the richest form of communication. How many of y'all have like heard of that before? Good, good. All y'all, I don't know if you guys were, have you guys had y'all's communication class yet?
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna give you all a refresher. So yeah, in person is normally the richest form of communication. The unfortunate thing about the virtual stuff is that we lose a very big factor, and that's body language. Very good, because that could really give you a vibe of like, is this person uncomfortable? Is this person like confident? Like all kinds of things like that. And then the next one would be like video conferencing. You're able to see their face at least, so you could actually see if like maybe they're like kind of fake smiling, maybe like you know that kind of smile, like you're trying to be nice, like look engaging, but like your eyes low key like tell them everything, or like your eyes tell another thing. But yeah, so video conferencing would be the next one. That one you would want to use that for more. Let's see. So taking me another step back there, I imagine for a lot of y'all's classes, you guys probably have your cameras off, right? Good one. Good point. Wait, so which class do you have the camera on for?
The only class I had was my algorithms class.
Oh.
She liked it when we turned the cameras on, so I was.
Yes, that's a very good point there. Like, for example, I guess some of the recruiters that we've had for our virtual like info sessions on like the company and stuff like that, sometimes I would understand if people wanted to turn their cameras off just to give more attention to the presenter and the presentation, but oftentimes a lot of them still really like to see your face, to know that they're not just talking to white text on a black box kind of thing. It also helps if you reach out to them on LinkedIn. It really develops a little bit of that low-key connection there. Because I don't know if you guys like ever. Yeah.
What you said. I remember one time for my sophomore engineering class, and then like somebody boarded company to something, and I remember it was like the teacher moved us to teams, like midway this semester, and I turned my camera on, and I was trying to be nice to the guy because he was just waiting on deck, and then the professor messaged me saying that I should be professional, I have my camera off, and I was so confused of why she would say that.
Yes, so another very interesting thing about all of this, like what you perceive to be respectful could be completely different from what other people see as like respectful, disrespectful, similar to things that you would possibly want to investigate when you're working with or in another country as well. Because maybe something that I do here is like totally fine and maybe even encouraged, but in other places they probably want to like boo me off the stage. Yeah, it could be that bad sometimes, and sometimes we just don't know, and we'll just have to learn from there. But yeah, so video conferencing and then like just regular talking, that would be like the next phase of like richness and information. And then the least is written communication, whether it be through an email or through a Teams message or Discord message. So many things can be lost there. So it's really good to try to take advantage of things like the bold, italics, and underlining things to either make certain sections pop or really try to convey a point sometimes. Let's see what else. And then you versus we versus I. So sometimes people can get a feel for how team oriented you are based off like the language you use. Like sometimes if people hear only about I, me, that may seem a little too individualistic, I guess. But if you were to use like we or my team kind of thing, that gives people a better sense of, oh, they're more considerate of like their team kind of stuff like that. Or they want to be more inclusive of like others, like besides just themselves. Let's see, and then, yes, so this will be a little example walkthrough. So forgive me for this, but yeah. I know. It's pretty ugly. Like I don't want to read this. Like I had to type it, but like, but you know, it happens. Some people. Let's see. Or here, I'll save y'all from having to read it, and I'll read it for you guys. Yeah. So good morning, Tamara. The meeting on Tuesday had a lot going on, so I'm feeling confused. I have a few questions to how would the new system be implemented? Who would we need to ask for approvals? Who would we go for funding? What are the processes for onboarding a new system in the company's environment? I have another thing to mention as well. Rosa and I are working on documentation. It's in the usual folder, ready for review. Also, the pricing for component 1 is blah, blah, blah. You guys have probably already tuned me out after the second sentence there. So before I click next, what's something that you guys would want to like fix up here right away?
I was gonna say the same thing. List like the questions in order.
Nice. Any more?
Just to put the questions in order.
Yes.
Maybe put bullet points.
Yes.
Maybe put the prices in the table. Sorry.
Good one. One?
That's the same thing I was going to say.
Very good one. So I guess like a lot of this kind of seems like, well, I don't know if it helped me talking about a few tips earlier, but maybe you guys would have picked up on this a little earlier, like, oh, I should probably communicate it in this way. This would make it easier for them. But understandably, not all of us kind of have that intuition, or at least not yet. Like some of us come from like different backgrounds in education. Thanks, U.S. Education system. Yeah, sometimes whenever you're going into the office environment, a lot of them kind of assume that you would already know how to do this kind of stuff, like including like how to navigate stuff like email stuff, maybe video conferencing now too. Like I know I've been working with a couple interns, and they've been like shooting me plenty of questions about like how to navigate that stuff, and I'm like totally cool with that because I mean I've been there, and it could be rough to just assume these kind of things. So the first thing I decided to do, just as an example, I chunked this out into what I perceived to be different topics. The first one being the meeting, the documentation, the pricing for hardware, and something about a mistake here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, before I go on to the next slide, this one down here. Also, your mistake in user story number 42. If I remember right, somebody mentioned that was the secret to life or something. Somebody correct me? Or the magic number? I forget. But yeah, also your mistake in user story number 42 will need to be fixed by tomorrow before I go on vacation so I can finish user story 65 before the end of the sprint. Yeah, so this one kind of sounds very rude. Yeah, pretty rude. This goes back a little bit to the you, we, I kind of thing. Your mistake. So a more diplomatic kind of way to say this is like maybe the mistake rather than your mistake here. Or maybe instead of what you said, it's like what was said. Like trying to keep it more not about the person, but about the subject or the matter. Kind of trying to separate it out there. But yeah, and then I don't know, it's just rude. But yeah, the next thing, the bullet points that you guys mentioned just now, that is able to be read much more clearly. So another thing, for this kind of thing, since it's kind of asking for having a meeting, I just put this in there as an example, but normally people kind of just send a meeting request and just put some details on like what the meeting is going to be about, and they just call it a day. And then they'll see if people decline or request for a new time or don't even reply in some places. But yeah, that's already so much cleaner. Yeah, and then let's see the difference here. So kind of a lot of filler words. Like here it says, I have another thing to mention as well. You probably don't need to mention that because you're already mentioning stuff in the process there. So yeah, here just cut it out because unnecessary. Rose and I are working on documentation. It's in the usual folder ready for review. But you know, I decided to save Tamara some time and just like insert the link as well there for the documentation draft. Let's see, and this leads off to LinkedIn Learning, which you guys have access to as a UTA student. I recommend the videos there. They're very easy, very digestible, very good stuff. They have all kinds of courses. I know they have the Certified Information Systems Auditor, the Security Plus, Network Plus, CISSP kind of learning videos on there. So I do recommend checking that out if you guys are into that kind of learning types. So yes, the table. The table saves a lot of this. Instead of that big chunk of text that was too annoying to read. You know, we got the components, the price per unit, units required, component cost, the total. I didn't have to write a whole paragraph. I just had to make a nice pretty table. And I guess here, since this is the total, one of the more important parts for maybe a manager to be interested in, you know, just highlighted it just to make it easier for them to look at there. And then, yeah, so that last one about the mistake. So since I'll be going on vacation soon, would user story number 42 be ready by tomorrow to wrap up its dependent user story number 65? If not, is there any way I can help? Like instead of, you know, maybe being all rude, being kind of like, hey, can you hurry up real quick? You could just be, you know, you could actually offer to help as well. It's always an option. I mean, I know I always like getting help at work if I'm running close to deadlines or stuff like that there. Yeah, let's see, what did I change here? Oh yeah, then here, since there's kind of like a lot of topics, I decided to make like little mini section kind of headers, like meeting request, documentation review request, hardware cost, user story number 42. Just make it easier for them to know, like, oh, what's this section going to be talking about? Wait, go back. Let's see. Yeah. To wrap up its dependent user story on 65. Yeah, and then the slide might be somewhere else, but in a different slide, I also made those sections bold, the user story number 42, hardware cost, just because it's a little easier to pick up on whenever you're scanning and reading through this kind of stuff. Let's see, and then, yeah, so your turn. I'm gonna give you guys like maybe 5-10 minutes to send me, I guess in a way this could be like our one-on-one. You could be requesting for a one-on-one with me, or just coffee chat with my email there, just to give you guys like some practice and get you guys used to sending one-on-one requests to me and the team. Pardon?
No, she haven't.
Oh, it's okay.
No, she haven't.
Like coffee chat, like it's when you set up someone to meet them in real life, or it doesn't have to be in real life.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be in real life. Like if normally your company is like kind of virtual, it's kind of just like a nice way of saying like, hey, do you want a break? And just chat about stuff. Yeah. But yeah, if you guys can take like 5-10 minutes to do that. Also just for me to know like, oh, are you guys familiar with the scheduling assistant and using Teams or Outlook, however you guys prefer to, oh, my bad, I'm probably blocking the email. But again, my email is also listed on the Discord announcements, if you just want to copy and paste it from there. But yeah, just 5-10 minutes. Also, if you guys wanted to take a mini break before we continued. Yes?
For coffee chats, do they have a time expect, like are they expected to be short or can they run longer? Or when I say can we have a coffee chat, is the other person expecting like a 5-minute meeting or can we?
That is a very good question. That would be a good question to ask them too. Like I guess normally it's kind of generally assumed that it wouldn't be too long, like maybe 30 minutes to an hour, depending on what kind of conversation it can be. But it never hurts to ask because you never know what they're doing sometimes. And then in the case that you're doing this during work, I guess ideally 30 minutes would be a good time, especially if they have like deadlines. Very good one.
So you would chat like over a call?
Yeah, like on I guess for example for this, I wouldn't mind like talking through Teams, but this is just to put it on my calendar. So if you guys prefer to talk with me over Discord, you could also mention that in the email. Yeah, Outlook/Teams is for scheduling, but I'm open to calling via Teams or Discord.
I meant like when you're in a work setting.
Oh.
Like how would you go about, can you give like an example? How would you go about it?
Like sending them like a request and stuff?
Yeah.
So I guess let's say you were in a meeting with this person and you notice that they are, let's say that you really want to be a DevSecOps engineer kind of person, and you notice that there was a DevSecOps engineer in a meeting with you. Then you could just like kind of catch their name and see if it pops up, hey, and see if it pops up in like whatever email kind of thing. Like, you know, whenever you guys are putting the email, like in an email kind of thing, like you can normally see people's names kind of recommended / pop up, similar kind of thing. Or there's normally like some sort of way to check like a full list of people with a couple filters here and there. Yeah, overall, like it could just be like from meeting them during a meeting, be like, hey, yo, I had a meeting with you, or we both had ABC meeting recently, and I noticed that you were a DevSecOps engineer. Do you think you could tell me more about your path or what it's like working in that department or in that field? That helps?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Can you,
Sure.
so usually whenever I send emails, there's the signature thing already on the app.
Mm-hmm.
So is that the one
I mean, so I guess I'm your audience, right? So do you think I would need that? So I guess like for me, like I would be fine if you don't put that in there. But I guess like in the case like your audience was your professor, right? They would probably want to know like, who is this person? I talk to all kinds of students every day. So that would be good for them.
She's free.
But
Whenever you click on the menu, so
yes.
I never use so I can use the AEM
Dang.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
When are you gonna leave?
I might just go grind it out and stuff.
I guess it really depends on your audience. Like maybe since you're asking for a coffee chat, I guess I'm going in knowing, or not really knowing, we're thinking that it would be more of a random conversation, but if there's something that you specifically want to talk about, and you put that there, then that would tell me, oh, they want to talk about maybe career development. Then I would know like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go into this meeting ready to talk about career development, kind of thing. So yes, it's good to add context. But since it's normal, it's just a request for a copy chat. It's normally like not that more than maybe 3 or 4 sentences. Yeah. Or like, yeah, you could just go ahead and like send me. Are you doing this as an email or as a Teams for a meeting? Ah, okay. So I guess like normally, oh, video. So, yes, go there. For a scheduled meeting or. And then, I guess title you could put in copycat.
This will be directly
Sure, do you want?
This will directly do we actually send the email to you?
Yes.
We put the subject like
Oh, it could be anything. Oh, but yeah, this collaboration is Mobi plus C6, I believe. But yeah, let's see. Yeah. So if we go to new case, yes. So you can put in any title, like you can just copy it. Oh, yeah. So right now it doesn't know who you want to be. So you might want to leave my email in there.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah, so right now this would read as like optional. You would want to, well, even mean the required, like you really want to meet in the meeting. And then let's see if my face one. Oh, I should be able to. Yes, there I am. And then you go up here to scheduling system. And then let's see. Oh, it might be the time. Yeah. Let's check that out. Because I'm not familiar with this. Ah, there we go. So right now you're able to see my availability. Since this is yes. So right. Oh no, so you see my availability, right? So each row would go along with the name. So I am, as you can see here, I'm not available from 8 to 5, and this little like diagonal lines that indicate that I might not be available because I guess I'm usually driving sometimes. But you can see that I'm very available, like in the evening or in the window. Yes. But yeah, you might want to keep an eye on like the lengths and the dates. So that's like the overall. Like that gets to show you like there's the where to combine everybody's schedule. Like
No, I leave it some.
if we go back to 15.
I don't know.
Yes,
I always
or
leave it.
a little higher. Yes, so right here, this is the total. So we cannot have a meeting at this time and this time because we're both not available. Or at least one of us is not available. Of course. Questions? Yes. Oh, I would also be providing like I guess feedback as well. But let's see. Oh yeah. Like since you're gonna be sending this to me, I could also just send you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like more direct feedback there too. That's actually really good. That's really cool. Oh yeah, like honestly, nobody says you can't use Google for that stuff either. If anything, Google Foo is a very good skill. Yeah, saves you. Yes. Oh, sure.
How's this?
Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Thank you.
So yeah, so you need help catching up, right? So I guess I would recommend I don't know if you're available to come in tomorrow, because I could always just like run through it again tomorrow because I'm here tomorrow. Or you could also like look at the recording as well for that first half. But for the most part, right now, everybody is sending me an email requesting to have a coffee chat. Yes, because I guess I know it might seem weird, but this is like a low-key way to network, especially in the virtual area. Because I guess like for me, I did my internship virtually, and I didn't really meet or really talk to anybody unless I reached out to them and got to learn. And that's actually how I was able to receive an extension with a new department. If I had not have actually reached out to them requesting for a coffee chat, they wouldn't have known that an intern was interested in IT audit. And I wasn't doing that with the intention of getting an internship. Like I was just wanting to know what was up with them. And yeah, at some point the IT audit manager reached out to me. Like I was thinking about reaching out to them, but I was like, what do they want with the intern? They're probably doing like important things. So I don't know if I would have actually had the guts to do that, but they reached out to me and they were talking, like, you know, just chill conversations and stuff like that. And then at some point they were like, hey, would you be interested in an internship in the fall? And I was like, yeah. Yeah, so I guess also for LinkedIn as well. Very transferable to LinkedIn. Like a lot of people tell you like, oh, network. How? Right? Yeah, like how? Like simple things like that. Okay. Yeah. So if you could do that, I could also give you pointers on like email.
All right.
How do you link an attached file?
So this file is saved to your computer, right?
Yes, I also attached it to the email.
Crazy.
So that would be, I guess, a little weird because that would be receiving a link to a file on your device.
How do you? Oh, that was just okay.
Yeah, that would be an example if like you guys were sharing like a similar file.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe say
Yeah, you could just like attach your resume.
attached. Also, can I just use this as an actual one-on-one request?
Yeah, this is low-key like practice or like just a way to make it easier. Yeah. Yeah. Also, just double check that people are able to schedule these one-on-one. Yeah.
So I'm ready to be strong, you know?
How's it going?
I'm just watching A+ video.
Oh, you're trying to study it for A+ or just trying to get a feel for the stuff?
Really?
I'm trying to see.
Oh, wait.
Maybe I can take the first half during the summer, and then the
Yeah.
second half during
Do not clean it.
like winter break.
Have you done an A+ exam, like a practice exam?
No.
Because that would probably give you an idea of like where you're weak on.
Okay.
So you could be able to just like focus on that instead of things that you already know. Well, unless you're very interested in learning more about that stuff too.
Where can I get the focus exam?
I think if you go to the UTA Library website and in their search engine, like I know there's Security Plus and Network Plus on there, like practice exams and guides
Like
stuff.
you said, the study guides.
Yes. Well,
Do the study guides include the practice exam?
well, there's also like, I guess imagine different files. Like a file would be the study guide, another file would be the practice exams that you would be interested in.
Okay.
I haven't looked for A+, but since Network Plus and Security Plus is on there, I would recommend double checking just.
Do they have general ones or they have up-to-date ones?
Yeah, that's a good thing to note. So for Security Plus, they did have, stuff that's right now, but they did have materials from the previous version. I forgot what was the number. But you could probably check on the CompTIA website on the current version just to make sure that you're looking at the right test stuff for.
Yeah, because right now it's
Okay, yeah.
1101 and 1102 for A+, and then the past ones 1001, 1002.
Wait, what time is it? I want to make sure Alfredo gets to the present.
7:15.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You see my name,
Oh, I was just double checking the time to make sure that you're able to have enough time to present.
no? I have my name.
7.
Oh, no, you're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would check there to I would check there. Yes. And then I think LinkedIn Learning also has videos on that too.
Mhm.
Let's see. Are we done sending like an email, or anybody still need a little bit of time or questions? All right. Sure. Or actually, I can.
My grammar's kind of bad,
Oh no, that's fine.
and I don't know how to fix it.
Like bad house.
It just sounds weird. It doesn't sound good.
Oh.
Saying
So I guess another kind of general tip for just writing in general, whether it be like for emails or reports or anything. And I do this all the time for work too. I kind of read it out loud or read it to myself, because then that kind of helps identify the weird parts or kind of to reiterate as well. But yeah. But do you have any more questions?
No.
Okay, you guys are also more than free to talk, ask me about all kinds of questions, by the way. It doesn't have to be just about today's topic. I'm very open to all kinds of things while we wait up for everybody to be able to catch up.
What's the, so like let's say you're trying to, you send an email, is it, and they don't respond within a certain time, is it, they don't take a follow-up?
Yeah, in general, yeah.
Coffee.
Like,
What's like the range you're, okay, you guys should follow up?
yeah, so email follow-up or task or stuff like that follow-up. It kind of depends on the situation and the person that you're asking. Some people can be kind of touchy for follow-ups, like, oh, I was gonna get to it. You didn't give me enough time. But not everybody's like that, or at least not audibly, they're not. But it could really depend. Like maybe you're tight on a deadline. Similar to that example just there, they had a vacation coming up, but they wanted to make sure that the user stories that they were wanting to get done, like all the dependent or the other user stories that it's dependent on. I just gotta try to come across as being polite and considerate in a way. You can also ask them like when they would be able to get back to you on that as well. Or if you already asked them to do it by a certain deadline, you could also mention like, oh hey, I know, well maybe not, like probably after the deadline. Actually no, that's also good. Good.
I kind of guess I just think of my situation.
It's normally pretty good too, because I guess they normally read that in terms of like their situation and if they're busy and stuff, but if they know what's happening on your end of the sea.
Well, no, I was trying to say I give you my situation.
Yeah.
My situation at home. There's sometimes I feel like sometimes you try to talk to recruiters and they just take forever to get back to you.
Oh yeah.
So it's like sometimes I don't want to seem like I'm desperate for the position.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes it's like I'm thinking like, oh, like I follow up too quick and then they're gonna be like, oh, you're desperate for this job. Or,
Yeah, for the recruiters, in that case, that's different. So it would kind of depend, but maybe normally like 3 business days, maybe a week, because I guess sometimes you can't see their vacation status on LinkedIn sometimes, so they might not even be reading their email either. So just to give them a little bit of space there is good, like maybe 3 business days, maybe a week worth of business days too. But yeah, it normally is good to follow up because I mean some people are still human at the end of the day, right? We forget about everything and anything that is not immediately pertaining to us. But yeah, overall, are we good? Javier? Cool. So let's continue, shall we? To presentations. A lot of technical people's favorite part to do for their jobs, I think, maybe not. But yeah, so I guess we could start off with nerves and concerns. How many of you guys feel nervous whenever you're presenting to people? Yeah, I feel that too. So I just wanted to put some couple of tips up here. So preparation, it normally helps to be prepared. It gives you a little or a few fewer things to worry about besides just the content, stuff like that. Mock presentations. If it's really big and important, especially for the audience to get to know everything there. I mean, it doesn't really hurt to do a mock presentation if you have the time to do it.
For the mock presentation, I think it's better to do it with actually somebody, like giving tips and what you messed up.
Yes, similar to what you call it, yeah, like second opinion. So a lot of these can actually be like combined. You don't have to just do one and just call it a day. You can combine a lot of these, like along with like the mock presentation, you can get somebody else to listen, like to get that second opinion. Of course, it's understandable that not everybody may be available to sit in on your mock presentation, but there's definitely people that would be out there. Like maybe they're actually interested in learning that too. But it's good to consider like, oh, is this confidential information before you reach out to specific people. And then rehearsing, similar to mock presentation, but less extensive, less actually doing the whole thing there. Let's see, and then purpose. So I will be honest with you guys. For me, I don't know if you guys probably wouldn't be able to tell, but I am actually low-key very shy. Starting college, being in high school and stuff, I was very shy. I would always be very nervous. My voice would be cracking all the time here and there. But something that's really helped me is whenever I have a purpose to do it. I probably wouldn't be up here today if I didn't, I guess, want to, if that makes sense. Going back to the purpose of this project, we really wanted to give you guys like a kind of like a mock company kind of space, get you like feeling more comfortable to work in those areas. And for me, let's see, I've been in that position before, and like in a way, like my fears and my nerves get covered up by what I want to give you guys, if that makes sense. Like I remember even recent too, like earlier this semester when I was doing like a hybrid meeting for the club, I was there standing behind the podium, but nobody could see my legs shaking, you guys. Like I was happy that the podium was there. I was happy, but yeah, I guess another reason why I'm an officer for the cybersecurity club is because I want to help people, and that kind of requires a little bit of like actually talking to you guys, seeing where you want to go in life, kind of things, like giving back kind of thing. That's my purpose for why I want what makes it easier for me to present. And for some of you guys, the purpose may be different. Maybe the meeting or the presentation would really help you elevate yourself up in the company, or maybe that would make your nerves worse. Depends, but the purpose behind why you're trying to send a message to their presentation could be very good. Second opinion, it helps. And then who knows, maybe they can provide tips on how you could communicate things better, or maybe they could ask really good questions that you did not consider would really help to put in a couple slides. Or maybe they could also tell you how trash it is too. Yeah, like for that email too. Sometimes it also doesn't hurt to ask for help for writing as well, especially since you guys are still very new and stuff, just to get like an idea, like, oh, what do you think this person would say if I sent them this? Your buddy can tell you it's pretty trash, that they're not going to hear. But that's pretty good feedback, though. You probably want to get that second opinion to really refine the presentation. On a similar note to feedback, let's see. I don't know if you guys, let's see. So when I was a mechanical engineering major, one of my professors mentioned ugly baby syndrome. Like a lot of designers, a lot of engineers really take pride in their craft and their work, and understandably so, that's cool. But oftentimes it's really good to get that second opinion, that to actually further refine that. But of course, because it's your baby, like, do you really want people to tell you that your baby's ugly? Understandably not, but sometimes it may be good to put a bag over that baby. But of course, let's see. But yeah, like another way that I kind of view receiving feedback is, hey, they're gonna help me look better at the end of the day. And also to try to understand that maybe providing feedback is very uncomfortable for the other person. Like, especially if you guys don't know each other yet. Like, oh, would this person feel uncomfortable or not so good if they receive my feedback, kind of thing. Because I guess sometimes maybe you think you did do a very good job, when in actuality, unfortunately, you did not. Well, it's ideal to receive feedback on how to improve for the next, for that next time. So instead of having them to repeat that, you could be able to take care of that right away. And then co-hosting. I remember when I was a resident assistant, when I was still very uncomfortable doing events and presentations for people living there at the residence hall. My first event was with another resident assistant that was also very uncomfortable presenting for the first time. So instead of doing one each, we decided to do a combo. And like with that, we were able to feel more comfortable knowing that if I got stuck somewhere, they could continue the conversation or maybe help out with people there. So yeah, it really helps out. I guess, for example, I got Hussein over here. I mean, he helped me set up. Like come on now, you guys. Like co-hosting, never be afraid to like also reach out to your buddies or your team members to see if they can help you out there too. Let's see, and then technology tests, especially right now with all the hybrid and virtual stuff. When in the fall, when the Cybersecurity Club was trying to prepare for doing a lot of these hybrid meetings, trying to accommodate the virtual and the in-person people, we didn't always have the same room to do presentations. So sometimes I would kind of sneak into the lecture hall if I was able to, and I would kind of just go on there and try to see like what kind of like technical issues might happen, like audio, maybe there's an echo, stuff like that. I did have an interesting instance where the professor after that kind of came in and was like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, I'm setting up, preparing for a presentation. And they were like, okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting what people kind of let you do when you just walk in. Yeah, and then it's good to consider what helps you calm, because I guess, again, at the end of the day, a lot of us are different. Maybe some of these things may help a couple of y'all, or maybe some of these things might help a lot of y'all. It really depends on what helps you keep calm there. Any questions or comments? Or any of y'all want to share some of your instances of presentations? Yeah.
I was actually trying to present in front of 2 people outside, and while I was trying to do it, I kept laughing. So it's kind of like I want to practice it, but it's kind of hard because I don't have control over, myself. So how would I overcome that and actually?
Would you say that's nervous laughter, or just like casual laughter?
I don't think it's nervousness or I don't know. It's just weird.
So I guess one thing that I will say, like, again, I was very shy starting out, but it wasn't until I kind of forced myself to be in situations where I kind of had to talk to people, like for the resident assistant stuff. because of my job, thankfully I had a purpose to approach them. The purpose to talk about them, like, hey, what do you like? Are you like liking living here? What kind of issues do you got? And then for the events things, as I did more events as a resident assistant, as well as an officer for the club, it just got a little easier. It got a little easier. And then also, let's say maybe you're not familiar with the topic as well. You could also try to pull in somebody else that's more familiar or similar, or kind of like complements the conversation that you're trying to give. Like if I remember right, with the recent fishing event that we had for the Cybersecurity Club, that was me and Hussein. I did a lot more of the kind of the human side of fishing, and then Hussein went over more about like the technical kind of stuff there. But yeah, that was a combination of purpose, second opinion, co-host thing right there. But it helps to kind of force yourself to be in those situations. Like, oh, I guess I kind of have to do it now, if you really have to as well. But yeah, practice. Unfortunate. But it, yeah.
I would call it a lot to do with mindset, to kind of
Yes.
get yourself in that position to talk to people. It just kind of practicing it over with yourself, even just imagining it, and then being able to, like you're talking about laughing, you can practice like in your imaginary presentation, and then it happens, and then you can kind of develop a control over it as you're, because you can logically think yourself. I think you can logically think yourself out of it, but it's just it takes a lot of practice. That's the only other way besides that.
I was gonna mention another thing, but I forgot. What was I gonna say? We were talking about mindset. We'll see if I remember later. But let's see. Oh yeah, and then just general presenting tips. Talking slower. I've been very guilty of that. Sometimes my mouth runs quicker than my mind. So sometimes when I am done talking about a topic, I kind of don't know where to go on, or like I kind of lose my train of thought sometimes. Like kind of a little right now. But yeah, talking slower really helps. Yeah, and then reiterating on what you or they said. This would be pretty helpful whenever you're doing a technical kind of talk, in a way to sort of summarize what you just said. Another way to put that there. And then providing examples or analogies. Again, you guys are going to be expected to do a lot of technical kind of presentations and conversations there. And it really helps a lot of people to be able to tie it to something else that's not so technical. Let's see. And then repeating the question that was asked. That one is more so just in case like you're doing a hybrid presentation and somebody's way in the back and they probably can't hear you on the virtual end. So I could mention, so the question was, how can I help keep myself from laughing too much during presenting, for example, like reiterating for whatever audience, or just for everybody to hear, just in case. Let's see, and then transition words. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but sometimes it helps to include transition words, just so people can, in their mind space, know where the conversation is going next, instead of just jumping from topic to topic. See, facial expressions, again, the core part of being able to communicate is through your facial expressions. Body language, touched upon that a little earlier. Cultural differences, touched upon that. And then humor / human side. So I don't know about you guys, but I kind of have a little bit more fun talking with people, or like working with people that are a little bit more casual, rather than just full, always 100% corporate kind of talk here and there, like for my last email kind of people. Well, it's good though. Like, you know, to be professional and everything, but I guess knowing when to be able to kind of lower the filter there. Because I guess at the end of the day, we're all still people. We don't want to be chilling with machines all day. We really like to joke. Like I mentioned, the ugly baby thing. You guys probably like that one maybe. That also really helps recapture attention as well. Yes?
For humor and keeping it dry, if you're contacting someone for the first time, would you say it's safer to just keep it the professional side and then slowly over time, once you get to know them,
It can
you
be.
get more humor? Or?
Yep. Yeah, like that one would be totally understandable, like because you're trying to set, what was it called? Impressions, first impressions. Like, oh, I know this person is very serious. They're very professional. But then as you have more meetings with them, or like through text conversations sometimes, you can maybe take it down a notch a little bit. You know, share a little bit more of like how you really talk and how you really are there. Awesome. Let's see. But yeah, let people know that you're not a machine. Let's see. And then yeah, presentation slide tips. I did notice that some people had kind of like just blank presentation slides, and that's fine. Like, I just wanted to throw this out there. Like, I think it's in the home tab or in the insert tab on the far right. You could see this, and whenever you're starting like a new presentation, you can just click on this, and it'll give you a bunch of different kind of like design templates for you instead of you having to be creative there. Presentation slide tips. So I know I already mentioned bullet points, but this is more so to cover when people are just reading off of the slide. Because I don't know if you guys have had those moments, or like some of your, some people out there sometimes, like they only read what's on the slide. They don't really give you extra information or anything like that. So it's normally good to use bullet points as a reference for your conversation rather than the whole presentation. Let's see, and then big text. You guys would probably hate me if I had this very small, very like maybe 5-point font text here. Let's see, and then defining, discussing similar sounding words. So if I were to say policies, procedures, and standards, you guys would probably assume they all are kind of the same, right? Or that they sound too similar to like have a difference, but they do have a difference. They do have a difference. So it's good to like sort of specify what those are about. Let's see, and acronyms. Some companies really like to just throw these out there, and sometimes oftentimes you're working in a bunch of teams. A lot of people have different levels of familiarity with the inside corporate lingo and acronyms. Sometimes you might be working with people that are contractors. They're not actually working for your company, or maybe a lot of them are interns. They're very new to the company. They would really appreciate it if you at least spell it out in like the first email or in the very beginning of the presentation, so they're not just like lost. And also, because in some industries, an acronym in like the healthcare industry can be totally different to an acronym in the manufacturing industry. So good points to consider there. Pictures, figures, icons, and screenshots. Yeah, it just helps people get an idea and a feel for conversation there. It's also more visually appealing. Let's see, too much / not enough information. That's kind of like a little bit of your guys' intuition. How much do I want to give them? Would it be enough? Would it not be enough? Let's see. Yeah, and then ease of reading, and then grammar. That one's normally good. You could normally send your slides or your report or anything to a buddy. Be like, hey, how does this sound? Can you wordsmith it for me a little bit? But yeah, nothing too crazy. Let's see. And then virtual and hybrid presentations. So I'm pretty sure many of y'all, maybe during your lectures, you guys are kind of listening to the lecture, but you're low-key doing something else on the side. Yeah, a lot of people do that in the corporate world too. So sometimes it helps like to use those transition words I mentioned to kind of rope them back in. Be like, and then this next point is critical, keyword. So they would, that could really help bring them back into the presentation conversation there. Let's see, in-person, virtual, hybrid struggles. Yeah, sometimes maybe some people are late to a meeting because they're working in person. So maybe they got caught up with water cooler talk, or maybe they have to walk to a room or back to their office cubicle. Yeah, and then like different people with different systems, different technologies. Some people's cameras are like all green. Some people are all echo with the audio. All kinds of things. Or maybe they forget to mute. All kinds of things. So it's good to have a little bit of patience there, asking questions for them, like, hey, I noticed that this happened during the meeting. Would you like me to help you? May I help you with this kind of stuff? Yeah, time zones. So for a bunch of multinational, international projects, you're not going to be working with people that are only in the U.S. or only in the central time zone, which we are in right now, I think. Like if I remember right, in one of my project management books, there was like a team here in the US and Australia and Switzerland. They were actually low-key able to create like a constant work day, like as if somebody was working on the project 24/7. But instead of just having that 8-hour workday, because they were able to have like very good communication, they were able to, in a way, pass off the project tasks to the next country, like in a way creating an artificial 24-hour workday without making anybody work more than 8 hours. So yeah, time zones, they could come to your advantage or come to your demise if not planned appropriately. And then, yeah, your turn to present. So, Fredo, if you may please come to the stand. Oh yeah, please feel free to. That'll give me a chance to drink some water. But yeah, it's good to have some water with you when you're presenting. So what do you guys think of this talk or this stuff?
It was good because I'm like bad at acting. Not bad, just I'm also shy.
You're developing too.
Yeah, so I'm just like practicing and helping. But
Additional comments? Or what do you guys think of this talk?
Would we have sessions networking on LinkedIn, or should we just do that on the one-on-one sessions?
So I will be doing a walkthrough on resumes and setting up your LinkedIn stuff, because I'm assuming maybe at least one of y'all here haven't created your LinkedIn yet. And that's fine, because I guess, again, for part of the purpose of this project is to help you guys develop professionally, and that's a little bit of that as well. So to answer your question, yes. Yes, I will be doing some of that too. I'll also be, I already normally do this for the cybersecurity club. Like at the beginning of the year, I do a walkthrough on the different careers in cybersecurity, as well as common popular certificates as well. But I mean, it doesn't hurt to hear about that early, while it's still summer, before you have to get all busy with school. Yeah.
and are we doing mock interviews? Did I hear something about interviews?
We can. I would probably do that as a one-on-one.
Yeah.
Probably. Great. Cool. All right, you have about roughly a minute. Let's see. Alfredo Garcia.
Hello, so my name is Alfredo, and I wanted to talk about Turing machines. So some of y'all might already know Turing machines. You'll cover it in your theoretical computer science class, but some of y'all haven't. So technically, a Turing machine is a computer, and it was coined by Alan Turing in the 1900s. And this is before any type of electronic computer ever came out. And it's a mathematical representation. And in theory, it can compute any algorithm a computer can do. So even the graphics on the screen, in theory, a Turing machine can do anything. And the way it works is that you have an input tape, unlimited memory size, and you can read and write. Usually it's represented with zeros and ones, and you have a tape head that either moves left or right. In Turing machines, they come in different variants. So you can have a multi-tape Turing machine, or you can have something what's called a non-deterministic Turing machine. At the end of the day, they all compute the same things. It's just a matter of what you want to get the job done.
Pretty good.
What time is that?
I don't know. I'm just kind of guesstimating. Like, but I'd say if it only took you that long to communicate that much, it was pretty good. Let's see. It was very nice how you were using like hand gestures, or like you were trying to like liven up like through your body language, kind of like this in a way. Let's see. It was good that you weren't like just reading off of the presentation slides. Like you had more to offer than just what's on there. You got a picture of my buddy Alan up there, much appreciated. Let's see. What else do you guys think Alfredo did well?
He included too many pictures in there, so that's cool to only see that text. So yeah.
There's a video it's a TED Talk. It's called Death by PowerPoint.
Oh.
It's a really good. If you ever want to know how to make good PowerPoints, I recommend watching it.
Oh, maybe I should have watched that before making this. Oh well, next time. Well, not tomorrow. But is there anything you think you could have done, or you could do differently?
Even up here, like I still feel nervous, and sometimes I feel like when I feel nervous, I try to talk as fast as possible to get it over with as quick as possible, and slow down sometimes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're good. Well, and then before you leave, we'll also be doing this again, by the way, just a reminder. But instead of you guys choosing, we give you a topic. Just to give you guys a heads up or an idea, I will be mostly picking them out of the Security Plus CompTIA kind of objectives. Well, not objectives, but like I guess kind of keywords, kind of things like that. So I guess like it's pretty relevant if you're interested in the Security Plus, and also because a lot of the stuff on there is very relevant to the real world. Like different parts of that is like very technical, and a lot of parts of that is very like businessy. So you guys will get some experience for each of those. But yeah, you're good. Cool. Alrighty, so do we have any takers? Return to presenters. I think I saw your hand first. So let's get on up here, Wasim.
Also, for the future presentations, are we also going to have them be short like this, or are they going to be longer?
It'll depend, because I guess like initially, like for some reason I was thinking that everybody would show up on the presentation day, but this was also before we realized how many conflicting schedules there are. So they may be increased by maybe up to like 3 minutes, maybe, yeah. Because I guess ideally that's probably more realistic to real world too, and since we do have some time to do that, like until 8:30. Yeah. Because I guess like I'm assuming since there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like there was about 8 people, that would take up maybe like half an hour to an hour-ish, depending. I'm playing it by ear. So depending on how long this takes. But yeah, are you ready? Cool. There we go.
All right, so during the onboarding sessions we had last week, I saw some people were new to Bash and the terminal and all that stuff, so I thought this might be a little helpful to some people who might think it's interesting to increase the efficiency, I guess, of working with Bash. So we're going to be talking about Bash aliases today, which is basically just shortcuts that you can use to perform longer commands or longer functions you could use to just increase the time you can type. So usually you put these in the config file for your shell, which is a file that your shell will run whenever you turn it on, that's gonna read through the file and basically prepare everything you have on there. And for me, I have a Linux machine and then a Mac that I have. On the Linux, that's the bash RC and then bash profile for Mac. And I know this is going to be a different file for if you have a different shells. I think there's CSH and then there's bash and other things. I think these are both for bash. The two different types that I'm talking about are simple aliases, which are basically just a simple word and then a simple command that doesn't take any input or parameters from the user. So something that I have here is alias. That's you're telling it to create an alias, the word you're going to be using for that, and then the command that it's going to run. So this one is just lsd, and then this is just going to list all the directories that are present in the working directory. So it's going to skip any file and just only list the directories in it, and it's going to run using the lsd here. And then if you want something more more complex, you can do more with it. You can use functions, which are started with the word function, again, the name you want to use, and then everything that goes on there. If you notice, these are just normal commands you use on bash. So it's make directory, and then this here for $@ this is just telling any parameter you input after typing mkcd, put them after here. So if you do mkcd and then / the name of the directory, all that stuff, it's going to go after here. So what this is doing is just creating a directory and going into that directory here. So mkcd, just very simple, but it saves a lot of time because usually whenever you're creating directories, you're just going to go into them. So simple but helpful. There's a lot of flexibility with this. You can have statements, for loops, basically everything, and it's really helpful. And I thought somebody might find it interesting. Yeah.
See, so I guess initially I did notice you started a conversation with your arms crossed. So I guess normally you do, yeah, there we go. Yeah, I guess normally maybe just off to the sides would be just fine, or like just having it together. Because I guess this.
Usually I don't know what to do with my arms, so this is just kind of.
Were you also feeling nervous?
Yeah.
Yeah, like normally when we're nervous, we might want to like turtle in,
yep.
And understandable, it happens. But I guess also. That could make the audience feel like you're a little closed off too. Let's see something else. It was nice how you mentioned and considered like the different audiences, like the people with Linux and people with Mac. That's very good considering the audiences there. Let's see. Let's see.
Oh yeah, one more thing I forgot to mention. If you want to have multiple parameters, you can do $1, $2, 3, just to get specific ones instead of all.
Oh, it was also, well, this is kind of like sort of off topic-ish, but it was nice of you to consider like, oh, maybe I could do my presentation on something that could help out everybody here. Yeah. So good touch there. Anybody else want to, or have like comments?
Just mention like the arms cross, like I relate to that, and I think we do it like subconsciously. It's not something we do like intentionally.
Yeah.
But I always, like you said, like it might feel awkward, but like just your arms to the side or something. Across your arms. I know, I understand because I sometimes like that too. But yeah, just takes time. Yeah.
All right.
Anybody else? Are we good? Yeah. All right, thank you. And then Brian, I saw your hand was right up after the seam earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Thank you. Have a safe drive. Oh, here it is. Wait, I don't. Did I? Oh, it's hidden. There we go. Okay, so, Bryant, let's go.
There we go. Yeah, hello everyone. I'd like to talk to you about this device called Steam Deck. Now, I'm certain, have you guys heard of this device before? Awesome. Okay, so I want to get this device really bad. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so what is the Steam Deck? So Steam Deck is a PC handheld that brings you all the Steam games, Nintendo Switch emulation, all those PC stuff you love, into the most convenient experience possible. So, okay, so what is it? Okay, let's read this quote. It says, the programmers of tomorrow, or the wizards of the future, wanted to look like he had magic powers compared to everyone else. Okay, so what is the magic? What kind of magic did Valve and all those programmers say to find this device? Well, let's just say he can mess with it. Okay, so example is like if you want to play Elden Ring, right, and it's not running smoothly, with just a little bit of magic, it can run as smooth as butter. That's how sick this device is, and to get the best experience, all I can do is do boot CMS for convenience and Windows for compatibility, and you just get a dream device.
Nice. So I guess I would like to start off with that you had very good enthusiasm in the beginning.
Yeah,
People-
I just wasn't really playing out as well.
People really feel and resonate with the energy, especially if people have early meetings. Like that can really like help boost them or like keep them awake throughout the meeting. It was very good how the transition words that you use, like what is Steam Deck? What did Valve intend to create? Like stuff like that. That's very good for transition stuff. Recommendations or like comments, things he did well.
I like how he added info about what he talked about and how like it relate functions.
Is there anything you feel like you probably could have done better, or that you would like to do differently next time?
If it was only longer.
Yeah, I am considering that. I guess initially I thought like everybody would be presenting, so like not a lot of time.
Yeah.
So possibly if it's just like this many people.
Yeah, since it was 1 minute, I was like trying to cram as many stuff as possible. Cause like this is basically like a pro controller, since like it has trackpads too. I also have these like these two extra buttons, like the L4, L5, R4, R5, but it's not really technical, so I can't really explain those. So I just said like it's kind of like a magical device that the programmers of Valve were doing to this device, bring in new features, and I would talk about many of the features, but it would take up so much time.
Yeah.
Because like just displaying 1% of this device's power rate, it could take a minute, probably not even 10 minutes.
And despite all of the things that you did mention, it sounded like you really summarized it pretty well in a very short time frame. Yeah. Anybody else?
At the beginning, when you asked anybody's heard of it, that was really good because usually involved with the audience is kind of nice.
That is very good. Yes. Also gets you a better idea of the audience too. Like, do I need to elaborate more, or do these people already know this stuff, and do I have to reiterate or repeat myself, kind of stuff like that. So asking those questions, it's very good for the presenter as well. Oh, I think I forgot to ask you, like, what did you think that you could do better, or like that you would like to improve next time?
I think I talked way too fast, and I didn't really have as much eye contact as I would have. I was more looking towards the slides, and I could have looked more towards the audience.
Connection with the eye contact. But yeah, nice job. Who is next? Let's go. Robbie. Great.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Hello everyone. I'll be presenting on the topic Introduction to Structures. So for those of you who don't know, this is a C programming concept, and if you haven't taken the class yet, then you're going to study this in 1320. And so what this basically is a data type that can be modified. So it's like a customizable data type, and it's kind of like you could think of this as like a box. So like you can put anything inside a box, and so a struct is a similar thing. So if you look at the syntax, you declare this. It means you're declaring this as a struct, and then you can put anything inside this. So you can put like integers, you can put floats, you can put character arrays, you can put basically anything you want. And like when you're programming, then you'll come across this a lot. You'll be using this a lot in your code. And also, I mean, for those of you who have not taken 1320, if you study this, you'll get like a head start, and you can perform better in your class. And yeah, that's about it.
The picture is very good to give people an idea of what you're talking about. especially since like just looking at this right off the bat, like I guess a lot of us already know or like see this and it just makes sense. But I guess like for like you mentioned, like for those of us that don't already know, right? That box could really help people make a connection there. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty good. Anybody have any recommendations, comments? Things he did well? Is there anything that you thought that you think you could do better or would like to improve on for next time?
I could just like structure it up, the talk, like what I'm going to speak in, like divide it, like plan it out more.
Oh,
Yes.
pretty good. Thank you.
Thank
¿Quién sigue? Let's go. Ready? Cool.
Hello everyone, my name is Javier Cardoso, and no, I'm sorry, I didn't include too many pictures. I didn't include any at all. So I will present to you machine learning concept. So it was a very complex, not complex, it was kind of dense topic. So I was not able to take a picture, but let's start. So machine learning is basically how we will automate computers. So basically, in traditional programming, we use data, like information we get from the users, data, and also our program that we write to make some output, right? But in machine learning, it's different. Basically, machine learning will make the program for you, and you will use data, so the information like the input, and this other output you want, and then you will introduce that to the computer, and that will make the program. So basically, that's machine learning. So the programs automate themselves. So now you know like the concepts of this. Well, what it is. All machine learning algorithms have thousands, hundreds, a lot of different things on them. But all of them have three key things, which is representation, evaluation, and optimization. So representation is basically how you want the program to make. How do you want the machine learning to make the program? So you can use for loops, binary trees, etc. The second is evaluation. This is how you will test the program the machine is made. And optimization, basically, it's what the program does, which is the machine learning output makes. So that's it. Nice.
Thank you. Oh, I forgot who else did this. I think Brian did this, but you introduced yourself. Like, I guess we kind of already know each other by now, kind of, like from, just the introduction day and everything like that. But in general, that's very good because, again, you never know what kind of new people join your team randomly sometimes. So it's always very good. Let's see. You opened it up with humor. The picture thing, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's see. The definitions is good. Let's see.
It's a very good presentation, so yeah.
Pretty clean, straightforward. Anybody else have recommendations, comments, things that you did well? Anything that you feel you would like to improve next time?
Maybe include some picture. Yeah, because I have to decide if we include a picture or include 3 points thing. So it was the 3 points things that we. So, yeah.
So I guess that would still tie in a little bit to intuition. What do I want to communicate to the audience?
Right.
Do you feel like you communicated to the audience what you needed to?
Kind of. I helped you guys understand what I said. So.
Thank you.
Sure.
Awesome. Returning to the presenters. Who's next? Let's go, Pawn. Ready?
Sure.
Cool. Wait. Gotta make sure I click the right one. There we go.
So in Spawn Gomez, and today I'll be presenting probably the only non-technology item, which is the trombone. So to get started, the trombone is a musical instrument. If you don't know what it looks like, here's a picture of one of the ones I own. The trombone is in the brass family. So in the brass family, there's the high brass and the low brass, and the trombone is a low brass instrument because essentially low brass means it plays lower pitches, and the smaller the instrument would be a high brass. The trombone is the only instrument that is essentially a giant slide. It doesn't have any buttons, so you change the pitch by moving the slide up and down, and it has 7 positions. Each of the positions is around 3.5 to 4 inches, really just depends. And then the way that you determine what note you're playing is something called the frequency wavelength relation. So essentially the formula is frequency is equal to speed divided by wavelength. The speed is determined by how fast or how slow that your air is going through the instrument that you're blowing. And then the wavelength is really affected by this tubing in the instrument. So in the closed position, it is 10 feet, but the further you extend it, it grows longer up to around 14 feet. So the longer it is, the lower the pitch, and then also the faster your airspeed, the higher it's going to go as well. And those are the 2 main factors that go into changing the pitch of the instrument.
I forgot to mention that varying the speed of your speaking is also pretty good too. Let's see. I mean, I think it was a little technical. You had like frequency wavelength in there.
I mean, it's like technology. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah.
I guess one thing that might be extra or you might want to elaborate on is kind of pitch, kind of give like a pitch exercise, because I know some that could be more a way to take this into a more technical.
Yeah.
How is it octave distance between the 7 positions? That's just something extra.
So I guess something to consider maybe a little bit more audience, because I guess a lot of us here are computer people. I guess we're not fortunate to have the music background that you do, and I'm assuming that. Well, you were very good at explaining things, so I'm assuming being section leader stuff kind of helps. Would you say?
Sure. I mean, like the frequency with wavelength relation was something I didn't even know. It's just like I blow fast and then it comes out lower. Didn't really know the science behind it.
But I mean, yeah.
Or higher.
You did pretty well. Anybody else have any comments or requests? Is there anything that you would like to improve on for next time?
I think it went kind of fast.
You think so?
I think so. I don't know. It felt like it to me.
I didn't feel that way. I don't know if you guys felt that way. Was it going too fast for you guys?
No,
good.
We're good.
There you go. It was also nice to see that you weren't reading off the slides. Like you were providing a lot of good information for each bullet. But yeah, awesome. Thank you. Alrighty, who's next? Let's go project. Alright, let's go. Let's go now. There we go.
Hello everyone, my name is Sajah Hussain, and today I'll be talking about 3D printing. So what is 3D printing? As some of you know, 3D printing is a technology where it creates 3-dimensional shapes. The type of printing is layering technology. Layering is basically, it's no more than, it produces products by printing layers upon layers until the desired product is ready. Now, what type of G-code does it use? It uses, what code does it use? It uses G-code. G-code is a language in numerical code where it gives commands to the machine through a computer. And what can it make? So it can basically make anything you want it to. There is softwares available out there that would convert SEL design files to G-code sequence automatically. So you can, as you can see in that picture, it would create shoes or toys, stuff in the medical field. Now, how can it affect our future? It can affect it by helping the housing crisis. So there's a company in China called Rensung. It offers 3D houses made out of recycled materials that would cost less than $5,000. And as you can see in this picture right here, this is made out of raw earth. And then this house here, it's the first house made in Germany that is made out of 3D printing.
Cool. See, I'm trying to remember. Somebody else around here mentioned that learning this would be very relevant to you. I think, Ravi, you mentioned like, oh, learning these structures ahead of time would help you. That would catch my attention, make my life easier. Thank you. Let's see. Whenever you're feeling nervous, do you like to play?
Yeah, I just move a lot, and then my voice gets shaky. Sometimes like.
See, it was very good that you. Let's see. The bullet points are very good. Like it reduces you from just reading off of a PowerPoint, leaves it more up to you to freestyle there. I guess right off the bat, when I look at the slide itself, it's kind of like a lot of things to take in. But understandable though, since you wanted to touch upon all of these, like the different possibilities and opportunities. Though possibly just like maybe one would have been like all right, question mark. But again, like this is still up for opinion and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. That's pretty good. I didn't know it uses G code. But whatchamacallit, do you guys have any like recommendations or thoughts? What she did well?
I really like the examples in real life pictures. Just a little bit of context. It's kind of interesting.
Good point.
I think the slides could have, it looks a little clustered.
Yeah.
So just more concise. I don't know how you want to make it. And then just a little more clear on when you're explaining.
Well, I guess, so since most of this was more so to talk and demonstrate about the capabilities of 3D printing, right? So I guess maybe instead of the code side, I feel like probably just like the 3 photos and everything else that you have on here would have been like still pretty good. Because I guess like when I see that other code, the code on the left, I would imagine that you would probably go more in depth on that, or like you would talk about that. But most of the focus was definitely on the real life applications. So yeah, overall, pretty good. Or is there anything that you feel like you would like to improve like for next time?
I guess just keep like practicing more because of my nervousness. And I would take y'all's tips into consideration of not like clustering the presentation. And I kind of like skipped over the second bullet point and then went back to it. It was because like once I made it, that's what I wanted to talk about. But after like everything, like after I sent it, I decided not to talk about it, but I forgot about that until I looked up there right now. So
that one is a very good point. I guess sometimes some people try to get their slides done ahead of time, and then they kind of forget the flow of the conversation there. Yeah, that's a very good one for like a prepare kind of thing. Thank you. Alrighty. Ready? Alrighty.
Alright, y'all, my name is Preston Wynn. Today I'm going to be talking about a concept that engineers use called the factor of safety. The factor of safety is basically the ratio of how much stronger something needs to be safe. It allows for a cushion before design fails. So the formula for the factor of safety is calculated by Fs equals ultimate load over allowable load. So let's look at an example. Let's say an elevator's operating load is 2,000 pounds, but the manufacturer is actually designed it to hold up to 20,000 pounds. Here, the factor of safety would be 10, with the ultimate load being 20,000 pounds and the operating load being the allowable load, 2,000 pounds. So engineers must strike a balance of the factor of safety from being too high or too low. If it's too high, they might spend too much money building and making all these unnecessary adjustments to something that they design, and it costs too much for no reason. But if it's too low, then it's not safe for consumers. For example, another example, if we look at a truck, the typical factor of safety is usually 3. If it's too low, people usually like to overload trucks, and that's why they have a factor of safety that cushion before the truck fails.
Would you say that you were feeling nervous?
Yeah.
Understandable. Like, I guess also around the beginning, it felt like very good transition words. Let's see. Kind of a little bit reading off the slide in the beginning, but towards the end, you were like more freestyling. And when you were freestyling some more, you sounded more natural. Let's see. Picture's cool, kind of funny. I like it. But yeah, it's pretty good. Let's see. Anybody have any recommendations, comments, things that they did well?
I like how he was like talking in a steady pace, like even if he was nervous. Like for me, I don't know, I feel like I was talking fast. Yeah.
Thinking of something spicy. Because also in the real world, you would normally not always be doing these presentations on your own. So I guess maybe I can make it an option if you guys wanted to do a presentation slide together or with a buddy. But let's see. But probably not for this next one, since this is practicing something that you're not familiar with. Let's see. But anybody else? Things they did well? Is there any?
I like your slide. It was very concise, and just like point out just a little more natural, and you'd be like right there.
Is there anything that you feel like you would like to improve for next time?
Probably practice more so I don't like slur over my words.
Cool. Thank you. Awesome, you guys. Let's see. I think that is it, right? I'm not accidentally leaving anybody out. All right, cool. Let's see. How did you guys feel about doing this today? Did you guys think it was a good idea? Should I just kill it? You guys still want to keep doing this too? Give you something that you're not familiar with? Okay,
Even
good.
though it's like,
There could be more people. Like, the audience could be bigger.
The audience?
There could be more people, so that it's more like, there are few people there.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, since normally a lot of people have very conflicting schedules, it'd be kind of rough or hard to expect everybody to come on one day. Because I guess a lot of us have class as well as work. So I guess for these in-person kind of stuff, it'll probably still be like half capacity more than likely. But whatchamacallit, so I'd say sorry, because also people like to normally go to meetings that's more convenient for them too, which is totally understandable. That's understandable too. Let's see, and then you were mentioning something earlier, Sajid? I'm sorry.
oh, it's nothing.
Okay. Anybody else? You guys think there's anything I could improve, like implementing or like facilitating this? Oh, yeah.
I felt like there wasn't enough space on the front because normally if I was presenting, I would normally move around a lot, but this kind of turns out.
Oh yeah, with the desks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could like move them to the side of it for next time. Cool. Do you guys have any more questions like not only pertaining to presenting and business communication. Do you guys have any questions about project stuff or anything? Since we're all still here, you know.
What are we doing next week?
So next week, that's when we're actually going to be doing project stuff. Yeah, so actual project stuff. So if you guys haven't had a chance to do some of the practice stuff that we've mentioned in the announcements or like in the JIRA tickets, please get started on that, because I guess that helps us make sure that you are that you at least have like a baseline knowledge, like to get started. Because if you didn't do it, it would kind of tell us like, oh, maybe they haven't had enough time, or like they're not fully up to speed there. Let's see. But yeah, next week you guys would be getting started on actually doing project stuff. The week after that, we would be doing another round of this. Anything to say? Or like anything in general? Recommendations?
We might have you do presentations in relation to the project.
I didn't think about that. That's a good one. Whatchamacallit? Because I guess ideally it would be nice to know that you guys could be able to present this too. Probably good for practicing too, whenever you guys want to talk about like how the project was, I guess. Yeah.
Is that what people usually do during internships? Like if they make a project, do they present it after?
Yes, and yes. Because I guess normally they would like to know what you were doing this whole summer. Also know like, is this intern, what kind of potential does this intern have? So yeah, I guess another reason why I wanted to do this for you guys. Whatchamacallit? Oh, another random thing. Maybe either this upcoming week when Long comes back or the next week afterwards, depending. We were thinking of doing a social game night on a Friday, like around like 6:30, 8:30. Yeah, just to give you guys like the chance to like mingle, get to know each other, since we also did mention to give you guys opportunities to make friends. So yeah, and then in person.
That's Friday.
Oh, either this.
No, not this Friday.
Yeah, not this Friday. Like either. Let me see the dates. Yeah, so not number 17. It might be June 24th or might be July 1st. We're still trying to decide that. But yeah, just an FYI.
What kind of games?
Well, over in the security club office, we have Uno. I have Exploding Kittens. We have Risk.
What's the unicorn game called again?
What?
The unicorn game? Remember we played that one?
Unstable Unicorns.
Unstable unicorns.
I forgot we had that.
I think we do. Do we have it?
Oh, we do. Yeah, we have it in the office too. Unstable Unicorns and Exploding Kittens are normally good ones. And then, I mean, Uno. It's hard to go wrong with Uno. But those are at least the ones that come up from off the top of my head. Oh, there's also a deck of cards too. If you guys like just playing with deck of cards too. Yeah. Any other questions before we close?
So do you mind talking about the side quest thing? Or do you want to do that after the meeting?
It is a side quest. So if you did notice in the Discord general chat, I dropped the side quest. You guys can complete it. You don't have to complete it. It's just something that if you want to go further into Git, plus you all have an opportunity to explore, kind of learn a little bit about Git outside of a session.
Cool. All right. Well, that's everything we got. Thanks, you guys. Have fun and have a safe. Have fun and stay safe. Have a safe drive home.
Thank you.
Yep. Wrapped up the meeting in time. Let's see. And then now to close or end the stream.
Just the finger button.
Oh, there you go. Oh, one last thing. My